Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, December 29th, 2023. Welcome to another eBay video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing using eBay's Deduction Tool when dealing with fraudulent item not as described cases for whatever reason. In last week's video, there were some questions and comments that concern me because it seems that some people don't quite understand how it works. Or perhaps they don't have it at their disposal, so I want to talk about that now. As you can clearly see, it is still cloudy and rainy. This entire week was clouds and rain, and we haven't had a sunny day in over 2 weeks. None are even predicted. Now you're probably thinking, he's making it up. No, he's not making it up. All right? Everyone cloudy. We don't get any sun. But this is even bad for us. All right, before I get into the main topic of today's video, I want to give you an update on something I told you about last week involving a bad buyer from Canada. To rehash, I had an alloy wheel center cap listed for $12.50 plus $8.75 shipping here in the USA. The buyer in Canada wrote to me and said, I'm interested in buying the item, but I don't want to pay the shipping. What can you do about it? I said, I'm not doing anything about it. I said, I have no control over shipping costs to Canada. I said, surely there's got to be somebody up there where you can get it cheaper and not have to pay the exorbitant shipping. And he wrote back and said, yes, that he had purchased one from someone up there and had a bad deal with them, and he bragged to me how he left them negative feedback. That should have been a warning to me, and I should have blocked him then, but I didn't. I was on mobile and I was in a rush, and I figured he'd never buy it anyway. In the middle of the night, he bought the item. Okay? Since he's overseas, he didn't pay right away. I don't know how he got around that. I'm not sure if he had sent me a best offer previously or what. But anyway, he did purchase the item, but he never paid. And after committing to buy the item, he wrote to me and he starts the same dance. I'm not paying that shipping fee. I want you to adjust it to $8.75. I wrote back to him, I said, I'm not adjusting anything. $8.75 is for the USA. Canada is going to be more money. Next day, he writes back to me again, adjust the shipping fee. I ignored him. He then wrote back to me again, and he got very foul, using the letter F. And he said something like, just keep the effing thing, bill me $12.50, and I'll pay that, and we'll call it even. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. You will pay what's on the eBay invoice, or we will file an unpaid item case. And that's what I wound up doing after 4 days. The unpaid item case was opened and closed, and he got blocked. So I figured I would bring you guys up to speed on my bad buyer. I don't understand why he would commit to buying an item knowing ahead of time the shipping was going to be expensive and there's nothing I could do about it. Now let's move on to the main topic. Using eBay's Deduction Tool when you get a false item not as described claim. So I think I started talking about this last week, but I'm going to start from the beginning. I sold 4 alloy wheel center caps a couple of weeks ago to a buyer. Paid right away, got them, and they didn't fit. The buyer claimed they arrived damaged. Then in the text comment says these don't fit my wheel, they keep falling off because they're not made for her wheel. All right, I had a picture of the correct wheel. They disregarded that. They bought the wrong item, but now they're sticking me for the shipping back. Okay, so now in the picture that they included where they said arrived damaged, they showed a picture of the alloy wheel cap with a small little scrape on it. And here's where they hung themselves. In the listing itself, I actually had that picture, that same exact picture with that small little scrape. This is an example of a stupid buyer. Not only did they not read the listing and see it wouldn't fit their vehicle, but when they lied about it and claimed item arrived damaged, they copied the same picture I was using. All right? I mean, it's going to be a slam dunk case should anything come of it. So when I got the items back, all right, I used the deduction tool. Now, in order to use the deduction tool, number one, you must be a top-rated seller. And number two, you must offer 30-day returns. This is important. So if you guys are not top-rated sellers and don't offer 30-day returns, you can't use the deduction tool. I think there's some misinformation out there. You must have both of those criteria. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you about this buyer. They hadn't bought anything on eBay in approximately 5 years. They're straight zeros across the board, okay? I'm telling you that for a reason. So when I go to use the deduction tool, I decide I'm going to deduct the original shipping plus the shipping back. The price of the item was approximately $40 with approximately $15 shipping each way. So what I did was, first I toggled off the original shipping. eBay had it preset toggled on because it was an item not as described case. I shut that bad boy right off. Then in the deductions, I clicked on edit. You must click on edit, and I chose $15, that's the shipping fee, and they make you write in the text box a description. And I said these items were as described, and the buyer purchased them, and they purchased the wrong items because they admitted they wouldn't fit their wheel. If you look at the picture that the buyer included, it's the same exact scratch that I have shown in the listing. Okay? I went ahead and I gave them a refund of $40. They did not get the $70 they were looking for. Now, I said to myself, there's at least a 50% chance that this buyer is going to open a case wanting that extra $30 back. But then again, I said, they haven't bought anything on eBay in 5 years, so it may take them a while if they even open it. Guys, it took them 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, after issuing that refund, I had a case opened by this buyer who wanted that $30 back. 2 minutes later, I get an email from eBay saying that eBay is going to give them the $30 back for the shipping to the buyer out of their own pocket, won't affect me in my seller performance, and they won't take the money from me. This is something that we need to discuss, and we're going to discuss it right now. I would like everybody watching this video to get out a pad and paper, because you're going to be doing some computations. Here's my question for you. I want you to think about this. I want you to do computations, and then you're going to talk to me in the comments below. This year, 2023, how many false item, not as described cases did you have, where you took a deduction like I just described because the buyer was lying, and eBay then refunded the buyer out of their own pocket? Now with me, I would say anywhere, minimum 10 times, but probably closer to 20. So let's run with the number 20. So what I would write in the description box is, I had approximately 20 bad buyers who lied and opened false item not as described cases. And the approximate total value of the amount eBay lost out of pocket was $600. And the way I come up with the number $600 is I just explained to you how it was $15 shipping each way, which was $30 for that particular transaction, times 20 transactions, would be $600. So I want all of you guys to stop, consider that question, and type in how many times this year you've had people lie and open false item not as described cases, then had eBay refund that buyer or those buyers out of their pocket. The reason I'm asking you this is it seems to be an epidemic, and I'm wondering how long eBay can continue to refund buyers out of their pocket. Now, eBay is a huge company. They're making great money. That's true. But think how much more money they'd be making if these bad buyers weren't draining the system. They're like leeches and barnacles attached to the side of a boat, sucking the life out of it. What could eBay do about this, you're asking? Very simple. I got a great idea, and I've been talking about it forever. There should be an arbitration button that all sellers can hit when they get an item not as described case. All right, if they accept the case, maybe the item arrived broken. All right, fine. Give the buyer back their full money. But if the buyer is lying, like the guy I just described, then you would hit the arbitration button. It would go to eBay Trust and Safety, where somebody with two eyes would look at it and say, hey, this buyer is lying. Then they would decide in favor of the seller, which is you and me. We would not be responsible for the shipping back. They would take the shipping out of the buyer's account or just keep it, and they would sanction the bad buyer. Now, the first time the bad buyer would get a warning, shame on you. This is not the way it's done. You're on notice. If you do it again, you're going to be penalized. And if they did it again, they would be penalized, okay? This is getting way out of hand. Do you guys think that in 2024, eBay is going to make any changes, not just to what I've described, but to any facets on the site, anything at all? Also, how was your 2023 in general on eBay? Was it good? Was it bad? My 2023 started out pretty good, and sales just took a nosedive, with December being the absolute worst. Absolute terrible. I honestly don't know what to attribute it to, but I've been nosing around in all the Facebook groups, and most, I would say 75% of the people said it was their slowest December ever. That's a pretty big percentage. But then there was 25% of the people that said that they were booming. And I do believe the people that were booming were the people that were selling things that could be considered as gifts. So it's understandable why those guys would be doing good. But yeah, guys, going forward, do you think things are going to change in 2024? I don't have any concrete information that I can say, I heard this or I heard that, because anything I've heard has just been rumors and would only be speculation on my part. So, going back to what I said about the item not as described cases, this whole system, in my opinion, needs to be revamped, not just for the good of us, the seller, but for the good of eBay itself. They're going to be losing too much money. I can't believe that they can continue to sustain those losses. Now, I'm going to have to put this on pause because I have a customer pulling in, as you can see. So, I will be right back. It is my opinion that eBay really needs to act on this sooner rather than later, because it's hurting their bottom line seriously. A day or two after I make this video, I'd like all you guys to come back and revisit the comments, because I'm very interested to see how much money is in play just from the people watching this particular video. I think it's going to be very interesting and enlightening. Oddly enough, the return that I just described to you, the false item not as described claim, was the only return I've had in the last 2 weeks, knock wood. I'm thinking that's probably because sales have been much slower than usual. Maybe after maybe after January 2nd, things will change. I actually think sales-wise, things will change for the better after January 2nd, because things are going to go back to normal. But remember, New Year's is coming up, and people aren't going to be too worried about what's going on online. They won't be online. They'll be out hanging with friends. So as 2023 draws to a close, I would like to thank all you guys who've been with me for all these years, and hopefully through 2024. 2023 was the worst year of my life. I've never had such a bad year. As you probably know, my brother passed away earlier this year, and there is nothing that can happen to me in 2024 to make it any worse than 2023. In a way, I feel almost like I'm invincible, because it's physically impossible to have a year worse than 2023 for me. I sure hope you guys had a better year, and I hope you guys have a really good 2024. Not only on eBay, but in your everyday activities. That being said, I'm going to keep this video short this week. I wish you all the best of luck in your eBay sales in 2024 and beyond. And I will see you guys next year, which is actually next week, right here on the Crazy New York Driver Show. I'm Crazy New York Driver, you're not. Thanks for watching this show. I hope you guys make a lot of eBay sales. Rock on, and peace.